It's all about quality and quantity on Brewsday Tuesday. Here's DreZ and Big Nate.
Brewsday Tuesday back again with some more movie-themed beers. And it is brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant Six-Pack Store, downtown Blacksburg. This beer that I just popped actually was the one that spawned this, because remember last week I was talking about I was in New Jersey and I found a beer that fit quite appropriately for the theme. Back to Reality IPA. It's got the DeLorean right on there from 3 Threes, which is out of Hamilton, New Jersey. I had to go all the way to Jersey to find this beer. It's an IPA that's coming in at 6%. And as you would imagine, this is a nod to Back to the Future. They got the font exactly perfect.
I know.
And a nice nice DeLorean on there.
That label worth at least a point.
I just realized I don't have my glass. I must have left it in my office.
All right, you stall. I'll go grab your glass.
Right, grab my glass. At least I hope that's where it is. Look for it. I don't know, somewhere. Maybe I set it down in the bathroom when I was peeing during the song. I don't know. Either way, yes, this Back to Reality is from Jersey, and they have, similar to what we do in Virginia, it has the drink local label, and the O is changed out to show the cutout of Jersey. If you're watching on the Facebook or the YouTube, you can check that out. And I was actually going to Google 3 Threes Brewing Company to try and get a little bit more info, but kind of ran out of time. So we just went ahead and popped these beers. I know Nate has a beer that he is excited for. And honestly, truth be told, this Back to Reality beer, I've already had it because I had to buy a 4-pack of it. So I couldn't wait that long to try it, especially since I brought one actually over Thanksgiving and let my cousin try it. And when I busted it out, he was like, "Oh, dude, you got to let me take a picture of you for this for Untapped," because he apparently has a DeLorean NFT. So there's actually a picture of me holding this beer in like a NFT DeLorean right there in my aunt's like living room. So there's just this DeLorean. It looks like just in the room, which is kind of cool. So that was a lot of fun. But yes, I already know that this beer is tasty. Your beer, however, a bit of a wild card.
So I'm very excited for this. You handed this to me and you said, "This seems right up your alley." And yes, it does when you read the first part of the label. D9 Brewing Company, Cucumber and Melon Goza. All right, all aboard. And then you get to the bottom portion of the label, Brewer's Day Off, which is a obvious play on Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which might be sacrilegious to say, one of my least favorite movies of the 80s. I feel like Ferris set the rest of his friends up for failure. I feel like Cameron probably suffered just untold amounts of abuse as a result of Ferris' behavior.
That movie was such a cult classic. I'm amazed it hasn't gotten ruined by a sequel or a spinoff or something in this day and age.
It's also very true.
And you're talking about your least favorite 80s movies. I mean, because to that one, I mean, obviously there's a lot of movies that came out of the 80s. Generally, I'm not a big fan of most 80s movies. To me, when you say an 80s movie, I generally think, okay, I'm not a huge fan of it. And, we paired it with Back to the Future. I never really loved that franchise either.
So, I not a big Back to the Future fan. The 80s were kind of my jam, though. I would replace Ferris Bueller's Day Off with Tough Turf. It was a James Spader vehicle that nobody saw because it was Canadian. And James Spader, long story short, plays the good guy and kind of made me fall in love with Less Than Zero, Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire. Loved all those.
Yeah, when I think of 80s movies, I think of like the what do they call it? The Brat Pack.
Yeah.
Like all of those. And, it's, I don't know. What would you call that? I guess just, there must be another subgenre of that, because it's all that same guy.
John Hughes.
Yeah, John Hughes.
Who also did Uncle Buck, one of the best movies of all time.
And Home Alone.
Alone.
Didn't he do Home Alone? So another one that gets kind of overlooked.
But Gremlins, another 80s movie.
Gremlins, that one,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off just never sat right with me because he's so selfish the whole time.
Yeah.
But
he's a righteous dude.
Yeah,
Everybody likes him for whatever reason. He does seem like just a pompous ass.
there's no redeeming characteristics. I want to learn more about Cameron.
I take it back. They are making that stupid spinoff, or they already did. It's supposed to be the guys that stole the car, like the attendant guys. Supposedly they're like making I don't know if it was a movie or a spinoff of like what they did with the car and that amount of time that racked up those mileage.
But what you learn in the movie is that Cameron's dad's not a good guy. So Cameron probably got the hell beat out of him. So like, it's just bad. It's just a bad look.
Yeah, but you also got to think about how it was a different time. And messages
and that
could
thing
be
flew.
Yeah, stuff like that. You'd brush, you'd laugh, you'd joke. His dad's probably gonna beat the crap out of him.
It's just so
they had a good time before he was catatonic, and
yeah, like it just does not end well for Cameron.
No.
And I'm not thrilled about that. Back to the Future, at least, kind of has, except for like the implied incest with his mom.
That part was a little weird. And also, I never quite understood how you think that, his parents, this Marty character that came, that entered their lives and set them up or whatever. Wouldn't they realize, like, man, it's kind of funny how our kid looks just like that
eventually
Marty boy
down the line,
school.
like you've got to have that conversation. Like, son, have you been time traveling?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think there's quite a few plot loopholes, and probably
anything
a lot
in
of
the 80s.
movies. Yeah. But that one, and then again, lots of sequels. Was it just the 3? 1, 2, and 3
that I know of?
The second one was where they go to the future, and you got the hoverboards, and then you got the Western where you got the train and all that jazz. Those two I don't quite remember as well.
So if you're like, someone comes to you like gun to your head, hey, what 80s movie do you really want to watch right now? What do you say? Like,
again, I mean, in fact,
there's got to be
maybe
one.
You might have mentioned it off air. I guess Terminators, those came out in the 80s, correct? Those are probably a little bit more in line with better 80s. It's always earlier than that, or 90s. Like 90s were the best. 94, in my opinion, was probably the best year for movies. You got Pulp Fiction, your favorite, Forrest Gump. But seriously, you also get Shawshank Redemption. That one came out in 94. I actually just saw a meme the other day about this. The Crow, Lion King.
What else? Crow's great.
Some other great movies from 94. That was a great cinematic year.
The 90s were great for storytelling, but the 80s, man, there's a certain vibe. If I were to ask myself the same question, I have a hard time. Less Than Zero or Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Do you remember that one?
I did see that.
Not even a great story.
Just
mediocre story, but you got Rodney Dangerfield doing the triple undie.
That's the other thing I think of when I think of 80s movies, is basically like the kind of cheesy comedies. Like, I'm guessing, no, actually,
Tin Cup, Caddyshack 2.
I would think Tin Cup was probably early 90s. I could be wrong, but
it might be. It very well.
No, I'm thinking more like, there's what Weird Science, or Animal House was pre that. Porky's was pre that. So that sort of, National Lampoon stuff that really got big in the 80s, right?
Yeah. It was the Mad Magazine of cinema.
Yeah, Tin Cup was 96, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely 90s.
Fine. Felt like an 80s movie.
Best 80s movies. How about that? Let's see what the old Google has to say. Uncle Buck.
Really?
Dead Poets Society? Squeaked in there, 89. I don't know.
Well, when was Uncle Buck? Because I thought that was 92.
89.
Damn.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You also mentioned that. 87.
John Hughes as well.
Beetlejuice, 88. That, believe it or not, has been on my to watch DVD rack for I don't know how many years. Still in shrink wrap. I've not seen Beetlejuice.
You've never seen Beetlejuice?
Never seen it. And now that Halloween's already come and gone again, I'm gonna have to wait another year to try and remember.
I'm gonna save you some time. It's not as good as people would lead you to believe. Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton is only on screen for like 13 minutes of the whole movie.
So here's the thing. Now I'm looking at this, and this is the popular movies when I just Google 80s, and this is all just shouts like garbage to me. Look Who's Talking. Wow, what a great one.
Travolta, Kirstie Alley.
Twins. The Great Outdoors. You got
John Candy again.
John Candy. Batman. Rain Man was good. Oh, here we go. Willow. I'll tip my cap to Willow. I did like that movie.
Willow has a new series coming out. I think it debuts this Friday.
That does not surprise me whatsoever. Young Guns. Can't Buy Me Love. Lost Boys. Okay. That's the OG sort of vampire. Say Anything. Field of Dreams. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Harry Met Sally. Roadhouse. All right. Now we're talking. That's Die Hard. All right. One of the best Christmas movies of all time. Overboard, Adventures in Babysitting. So yeah, a lot of these just shout bad 80s movie to me. Full Metal Jacket. You got your Back to the Futures, Land Before Time. Big. That was a fun Tom Hanks one.
Full Metal Jacket doesn't deserve to be in that same category.
Well, I think this is just all.
That's not.
A
lot of them were, like you said. I mean, it's just tripe. It's filler material to wait until a better time. But Full Metal Jacket, that is a film.
The Untouchables, not too shabby. Naked Gun. That's the epitome of 80s slapstick. Just kind of Princess Bride. I did enjoy that one. 87. Didn't seem like it was that old, but
that one's super campy, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we could go down this. Dirty Dancing. Okay, that's.
I've still never seen Dirty Dancing.
Hang on to that, dude. Don't watch it. That could be one of your never have I evers that you get most people with.
Dancing, not my thing.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen Flashdance either.
Yeah, with Kevin Bacon.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's nothing too crazy. All right, so never have I evers. I used to get a lot of people. I for a long time I hadn't seen Terminators. I didn't see either of those until I say probably within the last 5 or 10 years. I finally broke down and bought them and watched them. But what was one of the other ones of a super popular movie? I know I've never read a Harry Potter book. That's one of my other go-tos, but I have seen one of the movies, so I can't do that one. But those were very popular. But Terminator, that was my big one. I used to always get everybody with Terminator because everybody's seen Terminator, including me now.
Never have I ever watched the entirety of Titanic. Like I've seen the key scenes.
You didn't need to see the ending. You know how it ends.
Look, ship sinks. And that's how it rolls. I did see an interesting piece of trivia about Titanic recently, though. That last scene that I've never seen, when Rose is walking up the staircase, a young Rose to Jack. I think Jack was his name. Leonardo DiCaprio's character.
Yeah, Jack.
The clock is stuck at 2:20 a.m., which is when the Titanic finally went under.
So it's just like a nod to that.
So apparently Rose died at the end of the movie.
As an old age.
Yeah, she died of old age, but yes.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
A lot of people talk about that because they think that there's enough room on the door. So basically you haven't seen the ending, but spoiler alert, Jack puts her up on a door because it's wood and it floats to get her out of the water, and he hangs down, but they're like, there's room on there. But it would have sank the door down if Jack got on. The weight would have been too much for the door to handle. So he was still being heroic, and Frozen died so that she could blow that whistle. And
you can put as much weight in that as you want, but realistically, the movie only exists because James Cameron wanted to explore the wreckage.
I've heard that.
So if he managed to get what was 2 VHS cassettes, I don't know how it works with DVDs because I don't have a DVD of the Titanic, but it was definitely 2 VHS cassettes worth of movie.
Yeah.
You can't really complain about something like that.
And I wish you hadn't jumped in there with it because I was going somewhere with the. So, all right. So it was ships going down. People are freezing to death in the water. Fun fact. Most of the people that were in the water that survived, you know how they survived?
Because their blood pressure went so low that I have no idea.
Booze.
All right.
They drank so much that it like thinned their blood or whatever, or what it did, whatever with their whatever to make it so that they were able to withstand the cold.
So if
And
you're
so-
on a boat in sub-zero temperatures, you should probably just drink a lot.
Which, and I could be wrong, but isn't that why, like, when you stereotypically you see the like Huskies, and don't they have that little barrel of like whiskey? That's what it's for, man. It's so that if they find the stranded person, they drink the whiskey, and then it helps them survive the cold. And you know, they probably could use it.
Yeah.
The more
It's
you
a
know,
long day when you're stranded in the snow.
Hugh, the more you know, Rainbow here. All right. I'd say that's about a wrap on Brewsday Tuesday. We still got to uncheck the beers, which is how we like to rate our beers. I'm just noticing how bright I am. I'm like so pale and white in this light. Brewsday Tuesday on Untapped doesn't exist. I've been drinking now. DreZ Drinks is my handle. We got Big Nate Danger across from me. How is the cucumber melon gosa? The D9 paid a little tip of the hat to Ferris Bueller on.
Better than the movie. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I mean, cucumber melon goza, that's all aboard. I'm sure it's at 4.8% ABV, so very low. So if you're looking to get your buzz on, not necessarily your first grab, but very solid. Great for a summer day, which we are not experiencing
even close
right now. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4.5.
All right. Not too shabby. The Back to Reality IPA from 3 Threes. Again, you might be right. The beer is more enjoyable than the movie, man. This is a great example of an IPA and how it should taste. 6%, you know, if it was a double IPA, would have maybe wanted a little bit more there, but that's totally fine. Nothing to tip your hat at. There's the lacing I was looking for. Much more proper to my liking. And, you know, I guess maybe I shouldn't credit because this one I have only had for a month or so rather than the last one. But man, yeah, it's got some great head, great notes. I don't know if you'll be able to find it around here. I had to go to Jersey to get it, but if you do come around to Back to Reality or even 3 Threes for that matter, maybe give them a shot because this is pretty good beer. I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4.5, 4.75. That's what I give it when I'm in the DeLorean checking it in with the NFT photograph.
So before we cut away here, I do want to give our wardrobe department some sort of mention because they kind of half-assed it this week. I see are festooned in a Spinal Tap inspired T-shirt.
Yeah.
But, like, I got this Joy Division T-shirt. I had to provide my own wardrobe this week. What the hell?
I know. We need to talk with our wardrobe team about that. But yeah, I just combed through I was like, I gotta have a movie shirt or two, and I knew I did, and this was just the first one in line, so I went ahead and grabbed this one.
Find any of my movie shirts.
I'm glad you got the movie shirt reference though.
But,
some of the maybe one other person watching picked up on that reference beforehand. But thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for listening. We'll take a quick break. We'll get back with the tunes right here on 105.3 The Bear. Stick around.